she invented Wi-Fi. Then the world forgot her. You and everyone you know use her invention every single day. To scroll, to text, to connect. She changed the world on a global scale, but almost no one knows her name. She helped to create the technology behind Wi-Fi. The world dismissed her as just a beautiful face. No validation or credibility for her fantastic mind. Hedy Lamarr was her name, and in the 1940s, she was one of the most famous women alive. Hedy was a Hollywood actress. Glamorous, elegant, untouchable. She was constantly in the spotlight, always being photographed, admired, and talked about. But the image the world saw was far from the full story. Because when the cameras turned off, Hedy didn't think about fame. She was thinking about problems, extremely complex ones, the kind most people wouldn't even attempt to solve, the kind of problems that the rest of the world leaves to the inventors and great minds. At her time, the world was at war. World War II was reshaping everything. And one of the biggest challenges wasn't just weapons. It was communication. The military had begun experimenting with radio-controlled torpedoes. In theory, they could guide them precisely to their targets. But in reality, there was one big problem. The signals controlling them could be intercepted by the opposition, blocked, jammed. That meant that real-life missions failed because of this. Lives were sadly lost, and no one had a reliable solution. But Hedy Lamarr had an unusual background. Before Hollywood, she had been exposed to conversations about military technology. She listened. She learned. She remembered. And the problem stayed with her. So she started experimenting. Not on a film set, but at home, sketching up ideas and thinking through possibilities. Eventually, she teamed up with a composer named George Antheil, who could help bring her concept to life. A system where radio signals wouldn't stay on one frequency, but constantly jump between many, so fast that it wouldn't be possible to follow or track them. No one could stop them. Today we call it frequency hopping. In 1942, they patented the invention. Secret communication system, they called it. It had real potential to save lives. The kind of potential that could change how wars were fought. So they presented it to the U.S. Navy. And for a moment, it seemed like everything might change. But it didn't. The idea was dismissed. Not because it didn't work, but because of who it came from. A Hollywood actress, a woman. So, instead of developing her invention, they told her she could be more useful doing something else. Selling war bonds, using her image, not her mind. And in the end, that's what she did. The invention, you might ask? It was shelved, left behind, almost forgotten. Years passed, the war ended, technology moved forward, and very quietly, the same idea began to reappear. Engineers started using frequency hopping in military systems, then in satellites, then again in secure communications, and eventually, it became part of something much bigger, the backbone of wireless technology. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS. The modern world, the world we know now, was built on a concept she created. But by then, her name was missing. Hedy Lamarr never saw her invention recognized the way she deserved, especially not when it started changing the world. She was remembered as a star, but not as a great mind, not as an inventor, not as someone so ahead of her time like she was. Decades later, the truth slowly began to come out. Awards were given, recognition followed, but it came far too late. You can't rewrite the moment that mattered most. That could have saved lives. Today, billions of people rely on the technology she was a huge part in creating. Every second, without thinking about it, without even knowing her story or knowing her as one of the greats. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow for daily videos on women's forgotten history.